Hello everyone, welcome to Caroline's Craft Tree. Today I'm going to show a little envelope idea that Tammy Sullivan did. We did a swap on Fifi the Paper Crafter's junk journal and books. And I loved how they turned out. And I wanted to do a little video on my take on the envelopes that Tammy did. And I did them this way for my swap ones. So you will need an envelope. It doesn't matter what envelope. This is just a envelope from a greeting card that I had. You can use used ones, new ones. You could make one. You could just do it on paper. It doesn't really matter. Then you need a whole bunch of strips. Now the size of strips doesn't matter at all. I had a whole bunch of strips that were kind of roughly an inch or a couple inches wide, which I tore on one side because the one edge is going to be covered up anyways. So I've already ripped the one edge and inked it just to make it go faster. So I started on the front of mine, and what I'm going to do is, I can't remember what I was going to do. I'm going to basically glue them and overlap them and go up like so with them. Now the first one, I think I had a couple that the first one you don't really need a ripped edge because it's going to be all covered. So let's just use this one. Now everybody does these differently, and I'll leave a link below to the Facebook group for you to go and join the group if you like. It's a fun group. And if I can find Tammy's video again, I will post a link to that. I'm not sure how far down the Facebook group it'll be now, so hopefully I can find it. So the first strip, and I want to put it down below the edge so then I can trim it eventually. Now just want to get my mat here nice and messy. You could tell I use that for gluing a lot. Just so then if I do get any glue anywhere, it'll be on here. So now when this one comes, it's going to cover up that edge like that. Now when I glued mine last time, I would put this down. This is a long way of doing it. Then I know where to run my glue. Let's turn it this way. Hopefully I'm still in frame. Now I can run my glue here. Just helps me keep track of what I'm doing and where I'm putting my glue. And then I'm going to put just a tiny little glue right against the rough edge of this. And I know I'm making this more complicated than it needs to be, but this helps me keep track. And now that'll glue the loose part down, which is going to be over top of this one. So there is that. Now if I get a wider piece, like this one's a little bit wider, so if I want to narrow it up when I put the next piece, I can cover some of that up. But the best thing about this is you can use any scraps, any style, you can use lace, you could use fabric. And what I did was I covered it all with paper first. And then I went and I added bits of lace and ribbon and whatnot. Super, super good way to use up scraps of all kinds. And whether the envelope's used or new, this envelope happened to be new. So we're just going to fill up this whole side of the envelope. And because I tend to like my things straight and whatnot, this drawing the lines on there so that I can glue works well for me. It's a good thing we all craft differently because it keeps everything very interesting. Trying to keep a good eye on the camera just so then I don't go off screen. I try not to use the same paper on one side. I do my best to just keep it a little bit different. But you could use the same, repeat it. Like I say, any width of paper is fine. Whether your paper goes all the way across your envelope or not, that's entirely up to you. This is such a versatile way of using up scraps. And we all seem to have lots of scraps. Once you get going on these, they go by really quick, especially if you do it in the steps of, you know, doing all the tearing and whatnot like that. I guess this would be a good way of doing it too, is just holding your paper like this, and then you would know where to stop on your paper. I don't like to waste glue by putting it where I don't need it. So this would work good too. It was really fun when we did this swap of them. And this one I think will be wide enough. Yes, perfect. We'll put that one right at the top. So this one here, I don't really need to measure it all, except for let's get all that up. You could stitch all around these, and because it's an actual envelope, you don't really need to stitch or anything like that. Okay, there is the one side done. Now I'm just going to trim it all off. Trying hard not to cut into my envelope. You could use all these little bits and pieces for some paper ribbon or something. I'm just going to push them off to the side for now. Let's trim this side. I would have used junk mail envelope, but actually I have to admit I very rarely get any junk mail where I am, and I like that. So now we've got that trimmed down. Now we're going to do the same on the back side. We have a piece here that's not ripped on the back. I do like to make sure that my edges are glued down. And we are just going to do the same thing as we did last time. We are just going to glue up the sides and cover this side with strips. And I just realized that I just glued all that down, and I wasn't even on camera. Okay, so I'm going to quickly just do this, and then I'll be right back when it's done. Okay, so I've covered the back the same way that I covered the front, just with the strips trimmed off the side. I've also done the flap with a cute little piece of butterfly and then a green strip. So that's your basic envelope. Now what I did was I have this little thing of odds and ends of little tiny scraps. So then I just took a piece of lace, ribbon, trim, whatever, and I would just lay them in different spots and glue it down, and I was done. I glued down quite a few pieces, and it's a great way to use up all those little pieces of anything and everything. And I just glued them down, and I wasn't too picky. Even I think that's only about 1.5 inches, but it could go, and just glue it down. And you could have them going all the way across, or any length whatsoever. I'm going to cut out this little ladybug off this little piece of material. Put a little bit of glue down. I'm going to put that up here to kind of act like a stamp. As I say, you can use any little bits, pieces. I loved it because it was such a great way to use up pretty much anything. And whether you, like I say, whether you want long strips going across, Tammy just put down like the lace onto the envelope. I just had so many paper scraps. I wanted to use as many paper scraps as I could. I have lots of bits and pieces of lace and whatnot as well. Here's a little bit longer piece. Sometimes I found it easier to have my envelope this way. I'm going to put that down right there. So if I hold that, I can get an idea of the length. Of glue that I want. And just all those little bits and pieces of lace and ribbon and everything else is just really nice to decorate. Here's some like pearl type things I can put on there. I need a different glue for these. The plastic, it's not great with the art glitter glue. It does work, but it's not like super duper for that. But yeah, it's just a matter now of gluing down bits and pieces of lace and ribbon and goodies. And whether you want just a few pieces of lace or lots of lace, that is entirely up to you. You can do flowers and bows and all kinds of things. So I hope you like this little project. I hope you can use up lots of scraps with it. I also hope that you will go and check out Tammy's video if I can find it. If not, I hope you will check out Fifi's Facebook group. And so check out the links below and enjoy. We'll see you again soon. Bye.